Earlier this year, US lawmakers opened an investigation into Airbnb. The reason? Part of its AI system. Airbnb's customer service tool runs on more than a dozen AI models. One of them comes from a Chinese company, Alibaba's Qwen. Why include it? Airbnb's own CEO gave the answer. Fast, cheap, in his own words, very good. Lawmakers weren't satisfied. The real issue wasn't one chatbot. It was a habit. American companies reaching for the cheapest option, even from a company based in a strategic rival country. So here's the real question. Why does fast and cheap keep beating safe and right? Someone was asking a version of this question a long time ago, centuries before any of this existed. Why would a well-known American brand build part of its AI stack on a tool from a strategic rival? Not because anyone there is disloyal. Going by the CEO's own words, the answer is simple. It's fast, it's cheap, it works well. And that exposes a deeper problem. Public companies answer to shareholders: growth, profit, returns. At the same time, giant asset managers hold major stakes in almost every large public company. Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, they run the funds, they cast the votes. They're not managing their own money. They're managing trillions that belong to someone else. Retirement savings, index funds, pensions. So in a system built like that, how should a tech decision get made? Do you optimize for cost? Or does supply chain security belong in that calculation too? Data security? National risk? That's what makes the Airbnb Qwen story genuinely interesting. It's not really about one AI model. It's a much older question. Who is a company actually responsible to? That question isn't new. Rewind more than 2,000 years. A Chinese philosopher named Laozi is traditionally credited with his short book, around 5,000 characters. His ideas shaped East Asian thought for 2,000 years. His core idea roughly, nothing lasts by force alone. Things last through balance. He called that underlying principle the Tao. That's not mysticism, it's an operating principle. Centuries later, one man tried to actually build something on it. Meet Shibusawa Eiichi. Historians often call him the father of Japanese capitalism. Over his lifetime, he helped found or develop several hundred companies, banks, railways, insurance, Japan's first modern stock exchange. He could have run all of it on pure numbers. Profit, loss, growth targets, nothing else. He didn't. His approach drew on an even older text, the Analytics of Confucius. He's remembered for a phrase that roughly translates to the analytics and the abacus, commerce and ethics working together. Business without ethics collapses. Ethics without business starves. He split morality into two kinds: passive, just avoiding wrongdoing; active, actually doing good. His argument: an economy needs the active kind to survive long term. Morality needs a functioning economy behind it too. Otherwise, it's just a nice idea nobody can afford to practice. That framework helped shape modern Japan, not single-handedly, but meaningfully. Now zoom out further. Shibusawa wasn't an isolated case. Between the 1960s and the 1990s, four economies exploded onto the world stage: South Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, Hong Kong. Historians call them the four Asian tigers. Economists usually explain this through trade policy, education investment, foreign investment, industrial policy, geography, during the Cold War, direct support from the US and Japan too. All of that matters. None of it should be waved away. But there's a layer underneath, a cultural layer, a shared emphasis across these societies on education, discipline, saving, family responsibility, long-term thinking, strong norms around obligation and trust that lower the cost of doing business. You didn't need a lawyer for every handshake. None of that shows up on a balance sheet, but it likely helped the balance sheet work. To be clear, this isn't the only explanation. Serious economists disagree on how much weight it deserves. Singapore's rise involved a highly diverse, multi-ethnic society, not one single tradition. Hong Kong leaned heavily on British common law and its status as a free port. Korea and Taiwan built on land reform and American aid, as much as any philosophy. But look at societies shaped by a shared underlying tradition, all posting some of the fastest sustained growth in economic history. It's hard to conclude the tradition played no role at all. That's the more honest version of this story, not proof, a pattern worth taking seriously. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. The tradition behind this story, Confucius, Laozi, balance, obligation, came under direct attack from his own government. During the Cultural Revolution, the Chinese Communist Party targeted many of China's own traditions. Confucius himself became a target of official political campaigns. Temples were destroyed, scholars were persecuted. In the decades since, the party has at times revived the language of tradition, invoking Confucius, promoting cultural confidence as a slogan, even exporting Confucius institutes abroad. But that revival has mostly run one direction, outward as branding and legitimacy, not inward as genuine reconciliation. The party still suppresses tradition it sees as a threat, religious practice, independent scholarship. Selectively invoking a tradition you spent decades attacking isn't the same as rebuilding it. Now bring it back home, an American company building part of its AI stack on a cheaper model. From a strategic rival because it was faster and cheaper. The stakes in these two stories are completely different. One is a corporate technology decision. The other was a decades-long political campaign that cost lives. It could be wrong to equate them. But underneath both, there's a surprisingly similar question. What happens when short-term incentives override long-term judgment? Shibusawa didn't build his career by asking what's fastest. He asked what's right. Then he found a way to make it work financially too. The four tigers, whatever else explains their rise, didn't get there by treating trust and discipline as disposable. America has some of the smartest people in human history, and the most capital. What's arguably missing in moments like the Airbnb story isn't intelligence. It's the instinct to ask should we before asking can we cheaply. You don't get that instinct from a spreadsheet. You don't get it from 3 investment firms voting on your behalf either. Confucius and Laozi weren't writing corporate strategy memos, but they were asking real questions. What do we owe each other? What lasts? What's worth protecting, even when it's inconvenient? Those turn out to be exactly the questions a healthy economy still needs to ask. An economy that only chases what's fastest and cheapest eventually runs into a rival, one who doesn't cut those corners. An economy that treats trust and responsibility as real infrastructure, not decoration, tends to build things that last. People were already asking these questions a very long time ago. For more information like this, be sure to hit subscribe. We'll see you next time.